Welcome back to our last installment in the marathon of Air Buddies. So after slaying in Alaska, going into outer space, saving Christmas, saving Halloween, and completely alienating cats from being loved by humans, what do you think will happen with the buddies next? Have them receive superpowers. I mean, this is the last movie in this series, so why not end it on something that wouldn't be removed in a following film? We start at the Fernfield Farms, which may or may not be the same location as in the first movie, though probably not, where it's apparently someone's birthday, and it's Bartleby's, as he's either living here now or just visiting his grandpa. While I don't mention the human cast changes a lot, I will say that Bartleby is one I noticed going from having brown hair to having ginger hair, and now he's blonde, and I'm guessing the fact that he's here means that this is Butterball's movie? Space belonged to Buddha, Spooky was B-Dogs, Treasure was Mudbuds, and now Super is Butterballs. Meaning Rosebud is the only buddy whose film plot doesn't mean anything personal to her the most. Then again, would I want to see another Air Buddies film? I guess as a sort of promotional deal with Purina, they have their Puppy Chow product in here as a way to have their own toy promotion for this universe. Why would this ring be shown, and why does he have the others with him? The answer may surprise you, but not the way you would hope. Anyway, here's what Bartleby wants out of life.
How can I become a super comic book writer if I can't even come up with one super idea?
All you have to do is practice, kiddo. I mean, I didn't become a farmer extraordinaire overnight, did I? And I happen to think that you're very, very talented.
Well, at least I have one fan. Two.
Ironically, I don't think I expected a kid to start off bratty, go to being a decent friend, to becoming an inspiring comic. Even if the change is next to non-existent, at least one kid is showing an actual change during these films. For his birthday, he gets the first edition of Kid Courageous and Captain Canine. Guess that means the kid is the sidekick. And hello, Flash Animation!
Is a planet in Spyron, whose citizens had spent eons in peace and prosperity, protected by the 5 power rings of Inspiron. All that changed when the evil Commander Drex attacked, seeking to capture the sacred rings. Captain Megasis, you must take the rings to safety! There! It's the most distant habitable planet we know of! But it's far too dangerous. I may never see you again. Don't worry, my princess. I will return to marry you. Megasis sped towards Earth. Drex's ship by—
Either Butterball is as annoyed by his acting as I am, or he's trying to get down but can't because of handling. And then Megasis crashes into Drex's ship and dies. No, he got out somehow, and one of the torpedoes he launched earlier, carrying the rings, ends up crashing into the Fernfield farm that Bartleby is at. Oh god, this is going to be another series of conveniences, isn't it? Speaking of conveniences, it seems Sheriff Dan brought along his friends, who in turn brought their puppies. And yeah, since this is a superhero-themed party, they're all appropriately dressed. Quick note, we have one last voice actor change up this time. Butterball is now Jeremy Shinder, B-Dog is Cooper Roth, and Buddha is Tenzing Trainor.
Evildoers, beware! The amazing Grandpa Man is here!
That was so cool! Dude, that was major sweet! Are you okay?
Quit trying to be cool, old man. And put away your rubber ducky. It's not funny, it's annoying. And so he doesn't get left out, they got him and Butterball their own superhero costumes as well. Now they can begin the super treasure hunt, which seems innocent enough, and the buddies go off doing whatever they want, interacting with some of the farm animals to do an assortment of things relating to that buddy.
Oh, sweet mama! That was amazing!
Gracias, young butterball. That's a 200-pound barrel. I just threw it 15 feet. Imagine what I can do to a matador! Ole!
Stereotyping? Why, I never... shouldn't say that. I might have done so at some point. Yeah, Butterball's arc for this movie is to get stronger, which I guess will tie into that superpower thing later. Oh, and if stereotyping wasn't enough...
Alpha dog in the house!
We have a visitor. You think he can just waltz in here like that?
What does he think he's doing?
Excuse me?
What exactly do you think you're doing?
Nothing.
You best put that egg back now.
You heard what she said.
Put that back.
Seriously, young pup, you think you're gonna walk into my hen house and steal one of my sister's eggs? Ain't happening.
No way.
Ladies, charge!
I could be watching Chicken Run right now. They finally go to the barn where, of course, there's a hole in the floor with something shiny in it. And I guess Gramps never bothered looking at this spot and wondered, now what could have caused that? I mean, as the comic showed, it had to have crashed in the barn. Someone would have to have seen the hole in the roof and fix it, and they would also have to have seen the hole in the floor that was never there before. Already we have an instance where this movie probably couldn't happen the way it does, because all it would have taken was a human to notice the goddamn holes and do some actual investigation. Come to think of it, where did this superhero story even come from then? Did some cartoonist come up with the idea of magic rings falling to Earth and it somehow materialized for reals? Is this like Space Jam where there's a cartoon side to this reality and that's still somehow treated like we created them? Are they just unaware that such beings exist outside their realm of...
I'm so confused.
In a rather decent effect, they each get one of the rings put over their necks. But before we can find out what they do, it's time for cake! I don't know. Looks fake to me. How did he do that? No, really, how did he do that? Did he just go through the table and into the cake? And to confirm that these aren't the same rings from the puppy chow, Bartleby shows he still has his. Also, either Gramps made another cake, or it regenerated, yet are still eating it after a dog contaminated it. So, continuing the story, Megasis' ship landed in Seattle, where...
Afraid of capture, Captain Megasis made sure there was no evidence of his landing and disintegrated his damaged pod.
Yeah, but you still have that giant-ass crater in the ground, which no one heard but this dog. And then...
Oh. Aliens. Intruder! Identify yourself!
Greetings, human. Captain Megasis of the 23rd Quadrant, planet Inspiron. I come in peace.
You know about Earth, yet you don't know what humans are? Since the cops are showing up, he has to take on a disguise. So he shapeshifts into the form of a dog and...
Looks like this is my new shape, until I can find the rings and turn myself back.
Well, that's inconvenient. Though I guess this explains how he became Captain Canine. He just becomes a dog and later a superhero? Well, he causes this kid to nearly crash into him, and to further show how dumb this space alien is...
This just isn't my Eon.
Whoa. Did you just talk to me?
Yes. Doesn't this life form speak? Because my research concluded that human beings spoke in words just like us.
But you're not a human. You're a dog. I'm human.
Are you sure about that?
Anyway, the kid, named Jack, tells Megasis, who's voiced by Colin Hanks by the way, how to act like a normal dog as they go back home and convince Mom to let him keep him. As that's what Dad would have done. Yeah, apparently his dad was in the military and died, while Jack liked drawing cartoons, just like Bartleby it seems. He also looks like Sheriff Dan. I wonder if that's the same actor. So I guess they're trying to pull a My Hero Academia by saying you don't need superpowers to be a superhero, which is why this kid is trying to be one just because he has a talking dog. And one of their first adventures is saving hostages from a bank. Okay, so I imagine the point of this movie is to teach about self-empowerment, that you can inspire to do amazing things for people regardless of your abilities. If that was the point, then whoever made that comic must have gotten a really dedicated audience in a market whose tastes in superheroes tend to lean toward the teenage demographic and prefer to have those with actual superpowers. And even then, without knowing what other things this hero has done, I have to question why he was that popular outside the well-meaningful message. Oh, but silly me, I forgot what happened in the comic was real, as we see that the Jack in the book is indeed the same Jack who draws these comics. Oh, and welcome back, Jason Arliss.
Jack, the rings! Someone's found them. They've been activated.
What? Really?
Well, I'm getting a signal, but it's intermittent. I can't quite track the location.
We haven't had a signal in years, since that false alarm in 2002.
So you really are serious that no one looked in that barn or found those rings after all these years? According to Wikipedia, the rings crashed in 1985, though Jack looks awfully young for someone in his 40s. Granted, so is his actor, so okay, fair enough. Megasis will look into it, but for now, time to see what each of the rings do.
Whoa! What's happening to me?
Oh, so that's why he has the football uniform. It's to hide whatever it makes it look like muscle growth. Good thing the humans chalk it up as just the door breaking. Next with B-Dog, who's now back at his old home. Wait, this is the first time in a long while any of the buddies did any sports. Anyway, his power is...
Oh, baby, slam a jam a dunk.
Bad Photoshop effect with a side of inconsistency. I mean, look where his shirt would end and its placement in these two pictures. Maybe that's why they made him dress in pajamas, even if it doesn't look hip. Buddha, of course, has green screen mind control, Bud has chroma key invisibility, and Rosebud has super speed. As Megasis confirms their location, I notice they have an Xbox 360 controller. Weird. And then we cut to the still living Drex and... oh god.
Commander Drex, sir?
I thought I said no interruptions, monkey. I'm still ruining the day I lost the Rings of Inspiron forever!
So, they seem to have a mix between a CGI head and a costume body, while making Drex seem like a green-gray alien with reptilian traits. While Monkey, real original, is just another one of the studio's monkeys they put large ears on to make it seem alien. At least we know animal aliens exist. But this is just silly. The point is, they know about the rings, so they'll be heading to Earth too. The buddies assemble to question their new abilities, while also showing off more cheap effect work. That hot dog looks super fake one shot, and then it becomes real. The only real act of heroism that occurs is B-Dog stopping a pickpocket. Thus, after concluding the rings are responsible, they decide to become superheroes.
Captain K9 says, superhero rule number 2. A superhero must always conceal their true identity to protect the ones they love. Those superhero suits Gramps gave us are really gonna come in handy.
What are we waiting for, dudes?
Time to be super.
Yeah, no. Not epic at all. Their first act as a hero group is to save a cat from a tree.
Cute costumes and all, but really, why don't you go fetch one of your human friends that can really help me?
Shocker! A cat with attitude.
Oh, I'll give you some catitude. You ain't seen nothing, dog friends.
This one's all yours, B-Dog.
Whoa, back up. I ain't helping no on cat. No way, no how.
I really hate this trope. Butterball knocks the tree over, which lands on Sheriff Dan's car. Oh boy! Now to rescue the candy shop owner from... What are you wearing?
Look at the cute puppies with a superhero costume.
Yeah, pretty scary guard dogs, Mr. Swanson. Ooh, I'm shaking in my boots.
Don't laugh. It's not them who's pathetic enough to steal candy. Cheap effect powers activate! Though this is kind of amusing.
What's he doing? What?
Stay back!
What are you doing?
Stay back! Stay back or dice you into Wiener Schnitzels!
What are they, Hansel and Gretel? And where's your gun? Some robbers you turned out to be.
Time to reach out and touch somebody, dog.
That's no good.
How about we wrap this up with sheer incompetence?
Freeze! You are under arrest!
No, Sheriff, you got the wrong man. It's me. Look, it's Mr. Swanson. This is my candy store.
Oh, hey, Mr. Swan.
Ugh, when's Drax gonna show up? Right now, actually. And of course, no one seems to notice given how loud it is. What, is Grandpa asleep? Drax wants to go look for the rings himself, leaving Monkey behind to watch the ship. And unlike Megasis, he can actually body snatch people, turning himself into a pig. Okay, but at least Grandpa notices something is up after seeing the spaceship and not the green pig.
I am Commander Drax, feared leader of the Darkonian race. You are to forfeit this planet and the 5 rings of Inspiron.
Appropriate reaction. Where was it 5 minutes ago when it first landed? He hijacks a truck with Monkey's help, while constantly showing the communication device with and without the monitor in between shots, just as Sheriff Dan is called to investigate the now invisible craft. It goes about what you'd expect, while Drax is seen getting help at a fast food joint.
Greetings, fellow alien.
Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to Galaxy Burger.
I need your help getting the rings of Inspiron.
Onion rings?
Onion? Why would I want rings from the planet Onion, you bubblehead?
Did you say you want the Hubble hamburger with those rings?
A Hubble hamburger? What is this nonsense, you insolent aliens?
This is so juvenile. How did you conquer Inspiron again? Also, who put goo inside that fake alien? As the kids go investigate the pig pen for possible aliens... Oh my god, there are other police in this town! And he's the only one to show up to face off against Drax.
Holy pork chops, pigs can drive. Not well, but they can drive.
Aha! Confident, authoritative, adorned with idiotic facial hair. He must be the leader.
Seriously, our supposed scary villain is taken down by a freaking clown cop. He hasn't even met the buddies, and already I can tell he ain't winning this battle. Meanwhile, the kids discover the invisible spacecraft, and after getting shocked by it, leave, possibly to determine what it really is.
It would seem appropriate that I do some exploring. That's the reason I enrolled in space school in the first place. If Professor Banana Munch could see me now. Oh, greetings, Earth beings. I'm honored to visit your beautiful looking and interesting smelling planet. Oh, I'm flattered, but you're not really my type.
Where are the buddies in all of this? Oh right, they're superheroing elsewhere. Once again, they seem to be unaffected by the actual plot going on, and just doing their own thing. Granted, it's actually something relating to the title of the movie, but it just feels like filler. Not like the filler we've been subjected to so far. While they try to save this girl from a burning building, it's here they start to realize they aren't able to use their powers to their fullest and get trapped inside and have to be rescued by...
Captain Canine! Captain Canine? Is that really you? You are real!
You 5 puppies have the rings of Inspiron? You have no idea how long I've been searching for those.
These are the real rings of Inspiron? Not toys?
Yes, and lucky for you pups, I tracked them here. We have no time to waste.
So even though there's burning debris and have no way to go around with a little girl on hand, they end up getting around somehow and escaped unharmed. I think we missed a scene. Anyway, he offers to teach them how to use their rings before Drex gets to them, while the humans broadcast the puppies on TV, just as the kids are looking through the comics for the symbol found on the ship. And then they see their puppies on TV.
Are the 5 Super Pups descendants of the elusive Captain K9?
5 super puppies? The rings. They have great powers. Oh my goodness! The buddies have the real rings of Inspiron!
Well, good. If we're all in agreement, we can actually do something about the evil at hand. Oh wait, he's in jail. Even if it were just a pig, this is still a sad image for Dan. Drex ends up switching bodies with him this time, thus putting him in the pig body. Which means whatever happened to Drex's original body, if the pig is no longer here, at least the kids are able to recognize that Green Dan is not Dan at all. And I guess Sniffer didn't see him and ends up interacting with Pig Dan.
Jiminy Cricket, Sheriff Dan, you're a pig.
Oh boy, Sniffer, it sure is good to hear your voice. Even if I did have to grow a pair of pig ears to do it.
You're taking this surprisingly well. Anyway, the dogs head back to the farm to begin training for their battle against Drex. Since the rings have bonded with them and thus can't be used by Megasis, they have to learn to use them better, and we see that Mudbud's ring can affect multiple people. Though everyone else just learns to amplify their already beefed up powers even further. And I guess sensory training is fine too, but yeah, not much to learn here, is there? Other than teamwork above all else? That night, Drex shows up with the kids as hostages. Then, after knocking out Gramps, he leads them into the barn to lock them up. Couldn't he have just left them at the police station? Since now the kids are gonna read the comics, since it'll help find a way to defeat him. In a little bit of actual competence, he starts to draw in a meteor to use as leverage, and surprisingly, it's being reported.
Stay inside. Keep your loved ones safe. Super Pups, if you're watching, please help us.
Looks like it's up to Grandpa Man to...
No, this is a job for Superman. If this universe has aliens in it, surely it has Superman. Megasis goes to lure out Drex, and after a brief confrontation, Drax zaps Megasis and he dies.
Come out wherever you are, you little super poopies!
I think it's time to surrender.
Without your not-so-furless leader, you haven't got a hope.
Captain K9 said we will have to combine our powers.
Surrender the rings of Inspiron, and I will consider sparing your lives.
We have to believe in ourselves.
You could have helped earlier since, really, this guy is a joke. Just watch a few excerpts of this supposed fight.
Oh no, you didn't! Electricity can't conduct through rubber.
I got this one.
I've seen better fights in Black Clover. Damn it, I referenced it again! It's not even good, and yet it's better than this movie. So I'm guessing at some point, Monkey decided to turn to the good side, because Drex tries zapping him for heckling him, I guess. And Bartleby figures out that in order to beat Drex, they need to actually give him the rings. I see where this is going, but first, the buddies hide, even though they are perfectly capable of kicking Drex's ass. And Gramps does this.
Give it all you got! To be obliterated!
How in the world did he do that? So I guess Bartleby kept the toy rings on hand, since he tricks Drex with them, but since the meteor is still coming toward Earth, it wouldn't even matter since Fernfield is toast. But at least he's generous enough to return Dan's body. I mean, given what's about to happen, I think even that would have been too dark for this movie. What am I talking about, of course? The biggest cop-out to a final boss fight since Mr. Crooge and Snow Buddies.
What's happening? Those aren't the rings of Inspiron! Those are plastic! Oh no! Ah!
me get this straight. You were using those rings to power your ship for some reason, and they ended up melting due to the heat. Okay, but then answer me this. Why in the flying were you flying in the direction of the meteor? You couldn't have gone a different path? Also, if that meteor is easily destroyed by a ship that's no bigger than a house, I seriously question whether or not it would have taken out Fernfield. Either way, Jack is here now, so he can mourn the loss of his friend. And then, in a scene that would make Zordon's revival scene in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie seem like an emotional moment,
Captain Canine, sir, are you okay?
I see you defeated Drex all on your own. I knew you could do it. I'm proud of all of you, buddies. You really are super, with or without the rings.
this whole time you relied on superpowers to get what you wanted done. You didn't do anything without them. In fact, Megasis and the kids were the only ones who did anything without powers. But it isn't over yet. Now the Princess of Inspiron shows up as they received the same signal as Drex, and are of course thankful for their efforts. The rings get returned, Megasis returns to normal, and Monkey joins them.
I would welcome the opportunity to be at your humble service.
I can see you have a pure heart.
That explains why he was with Drex then. Whatever. They leave, and the following day, Jack announces that he is forming a partnership with Bartleby in their new comic series, Super Buddies.
And the Super Buddies picked up where they left off. As one adventure ended, a new one was about to begin.
That is totally unrealistic.
Absolutely redonkulous. That's pretty much this movie. While it's certainly not boring, as there were a few funny moments regarding some of the effects and how scenes played out, this is by far the most cringeworthy film in the series, and this coming after a movie that made cats the bane of existence. Every problem the other movies had is amplified immensely here with badly forced humor, stereotypes for no reason, a villain who's inept despite being this major threat they build up to, and an empowerment message that feels invalid given the contradictions they make. Hell, the plot alone would have easily been destroyed if it not for the fact no one found the rings the instant they landed on Earth. And even if not by the farmers, Jack knew what the barn looked like given he drew the comic showing it land there, and he never bothered looking. Between this and Treasure Buddies, I'd say this one had more pandering to the lowest demographic, treating them like infants who can't comprehend characters having a little bit of competence, even the star attraction. More or less, this is by far the worst Buddies movie, and thank God it was the last of them. As of now, anyway, the studio behind them is still active, and are apparently on another dog film tangent, as their current film series is Pup Star. Hell no, I'm not doing them! Though I may do the Air Bud films at some point, since at least I remember the first one being decent. But how their films ended up spawning this series, and how they lasted this long is just ridiculous. If you really want to see any of them, stick to the first two movies, and then maybe Spooky Buddies. Stay away from the rest, and only watch if you intend to riff. That's the only way you can get through them. Of course, me doing the Air Bud films may end up happening after Wano, because guess what arc is up next in the One Piece manga? Yeah, I think this is a good point to resume my little bet with myself, and not do any more dog movies, until I know what happens with Wanda. So until then... And speaking of special occasions, I'll see you next time with that.